I wanted to show you guys this interview that outgoing President Biden just gave on how, when he first visited Israel, or after the war, that is, what was his conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu like? And it's a very telling conversation.
When I went to Israel immediately after their attack by Hamas, 8 days later, whatever it was, and I told him we were going to help. And I said, but Bibi, I said, you can't be carpet bombing these communities. And he said to me, well, you did it. You carpet bomb, not his exact words, but you carpet bomb Berlin. You dropped a nuclear weapon. You killed thousands of innocent people because you had to in order to win a war. I said, but that's why we came up with the UN. New deals by which what we would do relative to civilians and military.
So he was comparing 21st century World War II.
I personally find this conversation amazing for a few reasons. Number one is how the president of the most powerful nation in the world, which is the USA, talks to another president, which happens to be the president or the prime minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Biden has, or rather had, a lot of power over the Israelis. He didn't have to convince them on anything. If he felt something was wrong, he could have stopped them at any given point, like we've seen Donald Trump do so even before entering the White House. This conversation, to me, feels like a conversation between equals. Now, why is that an issue? If you've ever heard of the Israel lobby, this just shows you how powerful that lobby is. Biden, knowing that this was a genocide, the war crimes, the atrocities committed against the people of Gaza, he still wanted to have a conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu rather than telling him to downright stop. Benjamin Netanyahu then goes on a bended version of his logic where he talks about how the Allied powers bombed Germany, or the Axis powers, and then dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We look back at those events as tragedies, not as something to be followed, but Benjamin Netanyahu feels like he needs to do everything that is necessary to win a war. But this is not really a war. It's a genocide. It's one side that can barely protect itself with another side that's armed to its teeth by the US forces, by the modern US military equipment, and by US economic aid. Benjamin Netanyahu's ability to dehumanize the Gazans is what's really amazing to me at this particular point. What happened at Dresden in Germany, well, a lot of people lost their lives. People were asleep at that particular point when the Allied forces came in and bombed them. And again, Hiroshima and Nagasaki you would basically compartmentalize them as war crimes, nothing less. To use such excessive force in both the cases is wrong. To make that your base as for this particular genocide is why you, Benjamin Netanyahu, are a madman.